Hey everybody, welcome. I am Daniel G. Garza, and this is Put Together Conversations. Welcome to the show. We're so excited. This is season 8, and we're live on Facebook Live. Obviously, we're live on Facebook Live. We're streaming on Facebook Live, and we're so excited that you guys are following us. It's been really exciting to take it from the podcast forum, and I guess I should turn down my phone because it's beeping. It's really exciting to take it from the Facebook forum and put it on live so you guys can chat and comment. Today's guest, let me pull up her bio because I'm really excited. I like that I can read people's bios now. Because Megan Roche is a full-time award-winning editor and writer for My Life Publications. Roche graduated from Mitchell College in 2013 with a BS in Communications and Sacred Heart University in 2014 with an MA in Digital Multimedia Journalism. Roche works has appeared in various publications, including New View Media Group, iPen Living Magazine, My Life Publications, TapInto.net, New Jersey Hills Media Group, 365 Tickets, USA, and more. In 2020, Roche released her first book, Forever Her Girl, The Stories and Experience of a Major Fangirl, that shares the memories and moments that she has with dance icon Paula Abdul. A proud Paula Abdul fan, Roche hopes that the book helps the fangirls and boys of the future as they navigate life, bullying, and social media. In 2019, Roche was named an International Pain Foundation Hero of Hope for a 2018 article on Abdul's battle with chronic pain. She is currently brainstorming her next book, likely a guide for young journalists on what to expect in the field. Born and raised in New Jersey, Roche now resides in Hampton Roads area in Virginia. Welcome to the show, Megan Roche. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited. I get to finally do this. We've been talking about this forever.
We have, and I am proud to say that we are both fellow winners of the I Hope Award.
Same year and everything.
Yes. Oh, let me turn this down. There we go. All right, guys. I need a bigger production team. I need somebody to like control all the minor details because I can't do this on my own. And Christian just left. My boyfriend Christian, who is my director, directed me just long enough to see that I looked good on camera, and then he walked out the door.
And then he peaced out.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I kind of kicked him out. I was like, okay, get out of here. If you're gonna leave now. But I want to thank you, Christian Ramirez, my director, for helping with this. But yes, so we were both winners last year, and we got to meet each other. For those of you that like to hear the stories of how I met my guests, Megan and I met, I guess, on the orange carpet because we were both winners, and we knew of each other because of the nominations and the voting, but we didn't meet each other until then. And you brought a whole posse of people with you that day.
Yes, my friends wanted to come support me because I'm not from LA. I'm from the East Coast, so I didn't want to go out there by myself. We made kind of a fun little weekend of it, and it was actually really cute. After the awards, they decorated the room with balloons and streamers and candy and flowers. So,
oh wow, that's so cool! It's friends are that spice of, I guess it is. Friends are the spice of life. They add to it, and they make situations like that so much more enjoyable. And so it was great. We want to send a big hello also to Ken and Barbie of iPen International Foundation for all the work that they do. If you don't know about them, I will put a link at the bottom of the thread so you guys can go check them out. And that's because that's how we met. So that's pretty awesome. Yay.
They're my Arizona mom and dad.
They're so cool. I mean, Okay, let's brag about them for just a minute.
Absolutely, please, 100%.
Ken and Barbie, they're so freaking adorable. But I met them at Healthy Voices. Hello to all my Healthy Voices family. I met them at Healthy Voices conference that's put through Jensen. We met like 4 years ago, and then Barbie and I were advisors to the following year together. And here's how we connect, and here's how I knew her and I were going to be like best friends. We were co-advisors, and we sat down and we noticed that like all the new people didn't know what to do. So we both got up and were like, well, let's go say hi to everybody. And we both pulled out a handful of business cards at the same time. And I'm like, oh, you are my spirit animal. This is this is how we're going to be friends. So she's pretty cool. How did you get connected with them?
So Barbie and I have known each other for a number of years. First, it was through kind of knowing her because she had worked with Paula Abdul on a number of projects. And then I kind of got to know her through that. And then we just really bonded. Actually, the Eye Paint Awards was the first time I'd ever met Barbie.
Oh, wow.
And I remember coming around the registration table, and she was like shocked because she just could not believe that I'd actually managed to come there. So I love the two of them. Ken, Barbie, I love you guys. You know that.
And they've been here to the house. We've had tacos together. And you know, Megan, that I love my tacos. So if I share a taco with you, if I share a taco with you, there's love there. Like
absolutely.
I'm going to say not everybody gets my tacos. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Hey, you go for it. You do whatever.
That is a sign of love. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, but I want to just get started. So Megan Roche, tell us how you put it together.
So as Daniel said before, I'm a journalist, an award-winning journalist. Can't talk today, apparently. Journalist. I've been in the field for just about 5 years. And it's been crazy. It's been a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, a lot of random events, no holidays off. I work literally every day of the week. I don't care. Because to me, I love my job, and my job is not work. My job is my passion, and I've loved it since the minute I started in it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
When you say that, I feel like, yes, we're like kindred spirits, because I do this, I do my Cardivo stuff, all the spiritual work, the coaching, the advocacy, and it doesn't, yes, you get tired, but it's like, do you feel like when you put your head on the pillow at the end of the day, you're like, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've always been good at writing, and I've always had this just passion of wanting to learn more about people. Because you were there at the Eye Paint Awards, but when I was a kid, my grandma would tell me that I was nosy and loquacious and in everybody's business. So naturally, I guess this field was a very natural fit.
See, Grandma, it paid off. It paid off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just like they used to tell me, he's a great kid in report cards. He's a great kid. He just talks too much. And my mom always said, it's going to get you in trouble a day. It got me a show, Mama.
It got me money. That's what it did.
I didn't even notice the cap was there. Do you remember the first thing you ever wrote that you were like, this is journalism?
Yes.
Like as a kid?
Yes. So one of the things in college that I was tasked to do was run the news department of our college radio station. And when I was in college, my biggest dream was I wanted to be on the red carpet. I wanted to be a red carpet reporter. I wanted to be Juliana Rancic, Ryan Seacrest, every award show, do whatever. And I came up with this idea of doing like a top of the hour celebrity, catch up type thing. And I fell in love with it. And I just said, this is so cool. Like, this is so much fun. And it was only a minute every day, but it was the start of what is now a crazy career that I've gone
on. Sorry, my phone buzzed. It throws me off. I forget to turn off the sound, and I'm like, it's buzzing. And of course, I'm nosy. I'm like, who's texting me at this hour? They should know I'm on a show. Did your family always like support you in your writing ventures? Like, was that even? I guess growing up, was that what you wanted to be in life, and were they encouraging you to go after your dream?
So my freshman year of college, I actually went to school to be a German teacher. I took 4 years
Really?
of German language. Yes, I took 4 years of German language and was dead set on I'm going to be a teacher. This is it. This is what I love. And I took one education class in college and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I could not stand it because I think what they said was if you are in this for the summers off, you are in the wrong field. And I said, count me out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And I changed my major from that point on about 12 times. And
Really?
yeah, I went from psychology, sociology, criminal justice, forensic science, veterinary science, anything but journalism. And then I kind of just took a communications class and said, okay, I like this. Like, this is what I want to do. And it was like I was at the end of my sophomore year and I had to make up about 20 credits over the summer so I could graduate on time. And my spring semester of my senior year, I actually took 19 credit hours to be able to walk at graduation with a
Whoa.
4.0 GPA, I might add.
Okay, because usually I don't bring up stuff from people's story unless they bring it up, but I was reading your book and like you wrote on a fan page, fan fantasy stuff, like when you were younger than college. So that didn't give you an idea that like that was where you should be going? Or was that just, did you just think that was a hobby?
Yeah, it was kind of just like like, let's just do this. I never really, it was just something I did to do because everyone else on that website was doing it. So I said, oh, whatever, let me just, and they were like some of the crappiest things I've ever written. They're awful. But no, I mean, but writing was always something I was good at. I was not a math kid, I was not a science kid. Trust me, I still can't do math to this day. But writing and English and reading, I'm such a reader. I read all the time. And I'm one of those people who has like 5 to 6 books going at one time.
Okay.
And I'm just invested in whatever I'm reading.
Because I would have thought that, like, honestly, and one of the things for everybody watching, and if you've been following me all these years, you know that I usually have a pre-production meeting with my guests, just kind of go over some details. And Megan asked me before we started, like, do you know where this conversation is going? I'm like, no, I never do. And that's what makes putting together conversations the show. It's like, I never do. Like, the first question is the only one that's written down. It's like, how do you put it together? But I'm really interested now because I would have thought that like having that bug in you to write would have been like, oh yeah, obviously I'm going to go into journalism or something that has to do with writing.
Yeah, I had no clue. I had no idea. Honestly, when I went away to college, I really thought that education was the path that I was going to go down. And I took that one class and my heart just wasn't in it. And I'm not the type of person who's going to do something unless my heart's in it. And right. I feel that way with journalism where, like we were saying before, every night I go to bed and, okay, I'm ready. I'm excited to go to the desk the next day. And that's not saying that there's not days where I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do this, because there are. But I love every aspect of what I do, from meeting people, sharing their stories. And I think with writing too, it's so personal. And I get the opportunity to meet so many people on a daily basis that are struggling. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've gotten from people who are crying. Thank you so much for even caring about my story and for putting it out there. And the first time I heard a lot of praise like that was actually at the iPaint Awards from people who were just grateful that I took an interest in sharing stories about people struggling with their health.
How did you get into that part? How do you, where was your first piece on health issues, and how did you get into that?
Well, so one of the first things I remember writing about health issues, my sophomore year of high school, one of the football players during a game got knocked unconscious, and he ended up continuing to play in the game. And as he continued to play, he got hit again, which caused him to have a seizure on the field. and he had a traumatic brain injury and he almost died. And a few years after high school, he started his own podcast where he was basically giving other athletes that were going through things similar the chance to understand that, you know, if they can't play anymore, they can still inspire people. And writing about Kevin's story when I did that, that was really kind of the first look into the health industry and the health world that I had. And I just felt it was important to tell people, like, just because one journey ends doesn't mean another one doesn't start.
For everybody watching, you are watching Put It Together Conversations podcast, and my guest today is Major Roche, journalist and author. And if you want to ask any questions, you want to be part of the conversation, make sure you go to the actual thread of the show, which is the black background on Facebook, so you can post the questions. If you put it on the outside of any other post, I can't see the questions, so please join us if you have any questions. That's really interesting, because usually, and I say this from my own high school experiences, those experiences, even though people think like, oh my God, you're so young, how is that good? But things like that early on really do leave a mark in our lives. I remember, and I'll just say my own story. Barbie already said hi. Hello, Barbie. I remember I came out in my last year of high school, my last semester of high school, and I remember other gay kids in school that were not out, they got bullied and hurt a lot. And I think when I finally came out, I took it very serious. It's like, I'm out. I'm going to like walk with dignity and I'm going to respect myself and I'm not going to be ashamed. But that's what led me on the path that I am today, if that makes sense. What, other than the writing about it, what other marks did those experiences leave for you?
I mean, I think it just, honestly, I remember vividly Kevin getting carted off the field and being hurt and leaving and being flown to the hospital. But I think the one thing that I've learned, and this is just consistent throughout life is so short, and just do what you're going to do and don't care what anybody else has to say. Don't think about the possibilities and the negativity. And I think I learned that early on as well, because in my book, I touch on the fact that I was bullied, I was teased, I was picked on, I was the butt of everyone's joke. And, you know, I think that when you are bullied and you are picked on, you almost have a better appreciation for people and you treat people better yourself because you don't want to treat anybody like that.
Yeah, I was bullied and harassed as a kid early when, in my single digit years, when my sexuality was starting to like show up a little bit.
Just come out, yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. It gives you that shell. I believe, like, yes, no, for everybody watching, bullying is not cool. It's not right. And spiritually speaking, I know there's a hidden message behind the bullies. There's always something. The bullies have been bullied themselves. So it's a chain reaction. But as somebody who was bullied, and I did have certain tendencies growing up, as I grew older, I found what they were pushing, the buttons they were pushing, and I found a way to deactivate them so that it wouldn't affect me anymore. How did you overcome your bullying, or have you overcome your bullying?
Well, I think, you know, so with my book, the book that Daniel had mentioned, I am a huge fan of Paula Abdul. She's over there, she's all over my room. But I've always been a huge fan of hers. And when I was 13, I moved to a new town about 5 days before school was about to start. And I was going from a very strict Catholic school environment to public school. And I don't think I was prepared for what was actually going to take place. You know, I remember walking into the doors of that school and just being like, oh my God, what am I into? I'd never had a locker before. I couldn't even figure out how to open a locker. And I would eat lunch in the bathroom by myself because I didn't know anybody. And then I found American Idol because at that point, that show had just started. And I fell in love with it because I've always been into like the theater and the singing and musicals and movies. And I just loved Paula Abdul so much. And she was all I talked about. She's still all I talked about. And, but that was the start. And all the other kids were like, well, she's crazy. Like, why would you want to be like her? What's wrong with you? And it started with that. And I needed an escape, and she was my escape from being teased and being picked on and being, the butt of all the jokes and being made fun of. That was what I gravitated toward.
Now, I will, you know what? It's not about admitting it. I am going to proudly announce that I watched American Idol from the very first season. I lived in Houston at the time. Actually, I lived in Porter, Texas, which is just outside Houston. And my boyfriend at the time knew what a fan of the show I was, that he surprised me with tickets to the concert when they came through Houston. And I squealed through that whole concert, whole of it. So I will stand proudly with you and say that I was an American Idol fan. Yes. And still today, I watch it now. I mean, okay, so come down, Garza.
It's okay, get it out, get it out. I understand, I get you.
And I want to say hello to Ken, who is also watching us right now. Hi, Ken. Ken and Barbie are watching us. So
I love both of them.
They're just freaking adorable. They annoy me. But to me, because I was positive, I was diagnosed HIV in 2000. So in 2001, when the show started, I was about a year HIV positive. So it was a really transformative year for me. So I had a boyfriend. I was in a very happy space. And there was so much inside of me that I wanted to do. So here's the thing. I know I'm getting a little emotional. Shut up, people. Don't judge me. But it was watching these, because I was 30 when the show started. I'm 50 now. And I'll be 50 soon. And
you don't look it.
Thank you. It's the taco diet. And it was watching young people going after their dreams and hearing the backstories and watching themselves be so vulnerable in front of millions of people. And I thought, if they can do it, why can't I? And that's where my advocacy work started. And then several years later, in 2005 is when I went on TV for the first time to host the show. So it's grown. American Idol, I grew up career-wise with American Idol. So that's why it means so much to me. And I think it's I don't know if that means to everybody else, but okay, I have a question, because I read in your book and I wasn't sure about this part or not.
Oh God.
When you were, because you mentioned that you were listening to karaoke albums with your stepdad?
Yes.
And then Paula Abdul songs came up and you read on there P. Abdul, but you didn't relate them together?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
I wasn't clear about that in the book. I'm
not
like,
at all.
I
was just like, who is this person? Like, why? And my stepdad was the one who explained to me, well, you know her from the show. And then when I figured out and I put that together, it became like, oh, like I had the light bulb went off,
Okay, because I was like, did she not? And I was telling Christian, I'm like, did she not know that P. Abdul and Paula Abdul were the same person? I'm like, but then I have to remember that you were like 13 years old. I'm like, okay, yeah. And okay, so we're going back. We skipped over the bullying, and I don't want to skip over this because I think it's a really important part of your book and of the growing process for a lot of us. Did you overcome that part? Have you let it go, or is it? Because for a lot of us, it's part of the motivation. I owe it to that little Daniel who got bullied to keep going stronger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I would definitely say, as I've gotten older, I've really I'm going to do what I want to do. And if people want to talk about it, let people talk about it. You know what? I don't need or care what they have to say. I think in some way, all of us do think, what are they thinking about me? But I've just gone for it. I've gone for everything. People would tell me, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're not going to do that. In high school, my guidance counselor told me that I was never going to go to college because I was too stupid. And I said, oh, okay.
What?
And I went to college and graduated with a 4.0. So
Are you serious?
yes.
I wish we knew who that guidance counselor was. We'd be like, ha!
I was like, okay, you're too stupid. You don't need to go to college. Okay.
Wow.
And I went and got a master's degree on top of it.
Suck it to you, Mr. Counselor person. You. Suck it. And because it's really, like the bullying that I went through in like the 70s, 80s is so different to like the bullying that you went through. And for everybody else, it's like, what do you mean? Well, because TV, internet, social media.
I'm glad I'm not in school now, because with the things that they have access to now with Instagram, Snapchat. Oh, I mean, yeah. I was in high school right when the big thing was like MySpace. Oh. And so it was before Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And like, thank God, because I don't know if I could do it now.
Yeah. Well, if social media had been around when I was young, I probably wouldn't have a career in social media now.
You know?
Yeah, well, a lot of people know my story. Like I was heavy into drugs in my 20s, and I was an alcoholic. So there's a lot of things that are better left unknown. Ken is making a comment. Sometimes people need to be told they can't do something in order to get them to do it. Very true. I think not everybody. I don't think that's everybody's intention, but I do believe that when we have a fighting energy within us, when we have that strong will, if somebody tries to stop you, it just encourages you to do more. Does that make sense?
Which is how I eventually, everybody kept telling me, oh, well, you're never going to meet Paula. Okay, watch me. And it's become like the theme of my life. Like, you'll never win an award for journalism. Okay, watch me. Like, it almost lights the fire, and it just makes you want to work super duper hard to prove those people wrong, but also prove it to yourself, I think.
Where does that fighting energy come from?
For me, it was always the people who told me I couldn't do it. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, all right, sure. I can't do it. All right, well, watch me do it. And then when you do it, you watch how quick they all stop talking.
Yeah, because you've known me a little bit now. For those of you that do or don't, I mean, I do. My alter ego is the Cardivo spiritual coaching, and it's all about showing people the potential that they have. And I believe everybody has potential. It's just a matter of giving yourself permission or not. And I think that we all have that fighting energy within us, but it's either you believe people telling you no, or you challenge them and challenge yourself. Yeah, because like I said, I was always told that I talk too much, and I was never going to get ahead in life if I kept talking too much. And I'm like, fool you.
And now you talk for a living.
Now I talk for a living. Now you can't shut me up. Like, and then they gave me permission to make my own production company. Fools. Now I create my own stuff. We're halfway through the hour, folks. And for those of you watching this, is Put It Together Conversations podcast. And my guest today is Major Roche, journalist and author. And I keep saying author, so let's talk about the book a little bit. Let's talk about this book. The name of the book is, and I have it right here because I don't want to mess it up. Forever Her Girl, The Stories and Experiences of a Major Fangirl. And I really like what it says down, what you wrote in your bio. You hope the book helps fangirls and boys of the future as they navigate life, bullying, and social media. What did writing this book teach you about you that you didn't know?
Ooh, wasn't expecting that question. Okay. First of all, I didn't think I could actually write a book. So just even doing that and like turning my book into something, but also it really taught me that there's a lot of people who are invested in my story. And I've gotten so many reviews from people who have been like, this thing is incredible and you need to do more with it. And I tend to be a person who doesn't really take my accomplishments to heart. I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever, add that to the list. So when people started coming to me and saying things like, this is absolutely incredible, I kind of just brush it under the rug. I'm not a person who like thrives on that, because I just personally, I wrote it to write it. I didn't think it was going to do anything.
Got it. Again, we have a lot of similarities. It's kind of like, that's done. I've got to move on to the next thing. And oddly enough, I was having this conversation with some other friends. We were at a gathering doing readings, and actually it was one of my workshops. And by the way, I have workshops, guys, just put it out there. We'll talk about this at the end of the show. But we're
plug it up.
Yeah, total plug. That's what you, and this is, folks, where you get your own show, so you can plug whatever you want. But we were one of my workshops, and somebody asked me about, we were talking about discussing career choices, and she was like, am I manifesting what I want, or am I manifesting what I need? And I was telling her, I said, do you sit after a project and just like, I'm done with this project? Or are you like, what's next? And she's like, I'm on to what's next. I'm like, it's not a want, it's a need. You need to do something else. And I think you and I are very similar. It's like, I just finished the show at noon, and like, okay, we're done. What's next? Like, we got, like, can't sit on that too long because it's over. Let's go on to the next thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you.
You talk about teaching kids about life in the book a little bit. And I don't know how to put the question without making it sound redundant. And I mean, because you already talked about what you learned of it, but I'm gonna throw it over to you. Tell us a little more about the book, and because we talked about what you learned about yourself.
Sure.
Because there's so much. I feel like if I ask anything, I'm giving away the book, and I want people to go read the book because it's so good.
Well, so my book, my story, as I've alluded to before, I'm a really big fan of Paula Abdul's. I've always just loved her, and I think that love came from, she was one of the ones to show me kindness when I was being teased and picked on and told that, you know, any number of things in the book, you know, you're not good enough, you're not this, whatever the case was. And she, when I first met her, didn't do that to me. And she was the first one who kind of embraced it and gave me the power and the realization of, I don't need people's permission. And, you know, my book goes through figuring out who she was, as we talked about before, to, you know, full circle moments in my career when I had the opportunity to interview her and put her on the cover of I Pain Living magazine, to creating radio shows, to meeting friends and real lifelong, there for you, have your back kind of friends. And just the things that she's given to me in my life. And one thing that she's always talked about very heavily is her love for Gene Kelly. And to me, she is my Gene Kelly, and she created her Opposites Attract music video for him. And it was a gift of gratitude. And that's what this book is to me. This is my gift of gratitude with my strength of writing, to say, thank you for giving me all these things that I'm sure you don't even know you've given me.
Because even as when you asked her about meeting him, her reply to you, that part made me cry. I was like,
I still listen to that and cry.
It's just like, again, you folks, you've got to. We're gonna post. You gotta get this book and read it. It's an easy read. It's very lighthearted, and
we need that right now as a country. We need the happiness.
I'm always, okay, for everybody, like, I love having authors on the show, but I'm always concerned when they send me the books, because I'm like, please don't let it be too heavy. Please don't let it be too heavy. Because I am not a reader. Like, I send me a documentary. Like, I'll watch a documentary. But a reader, I'm like, but this is such, like, it really is a page turner. It's because you want to know what your story's like. Okay, can I tell the story that I told you in pre-production about?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, because there's a part in the book where like you go on, it's like this mission to go meet Paula for the first time, and I mean, It's almost something out of like the Babysitter's Club books. Yes, folks, I've read the Babysitter's Club books, and I watched the movies.
I'm a fan. They were my first books that I ever read. I love Babysitter's Club. So
it's so Nancy Drew the way you manipulate the whole situation, and I'm going to give you credit for that. You manipulated the whole situation into making it happen for you. It was so cool, but you get there to meet her, and obviously the show, her reality show is already out there. So if you're familiar with her reality show, I only caught it later on. I don't remember. I didn't watch the first couple of episodes or several episodes. So, but if you watch Paula Abdul's reality show, Megan had a small cameo, but it's so impactful. I mean, you're obviously from reading the story, your dad already knew what was happening. He had an idea of what was going to happen, but they left you totally out of it, which is so cool. Okay, I'm having but can you see I'm getting all excited because it was so cool, and then you like genuinely like emotions, and I was right there with you when I was reading it. I was like, I felt like I was part of the audience watching this happen, and you were like that little girl next to me, and I'm like, oh my God, she's totally crying. Like, oh my God, she's so cute. Because the way you explain things in the book is so like we're having a chat, and I love that because it makes it not feel like a book. It feels like you're writing me a letter to tell me about what happened to you, and that to me is a really cool book. Anyway. How, I know you were asked this then, but how did that make you feel, if you still remember, and how does that play in your life now?
Oh God. So to this day, I still post the picture of her and I that I have from that day with my puffy red nose and my horrible outfit. I had no fashion sense. I wore Nike zip up track pants and like tan Uggs with like a white jacket that had that fur hood that came off, and it looked awful. It was awful. It was a terrible outfit. But I still post that picture every year, March 19th, and I think back to that day. And what's crazy is in 2021 I'll be turning 30, and at this point next year Paula will have known me for 15 years, half of my life.
Wow.
So, but to get back to your question, I mean, I will never forget that. I looked forward to that forever, and it's something that still I can remember exactly standing there and remembering what that felt like, just being like, oh, finally, like, she knows I exist.
Yeah.
And I think now with everything that I've done with her, it's made me realize how fortunate I am, and I always want to try to bring other people closer to her and just give them the same thing that I had. Because if I had somebody at 15 who would have taken me and took me and met her that knew her already, I would have died for that opportunity. So I always want to take others and share the wealth.
So let's talk a little bit, because if we talk more about the book, people are going to be like, you've already talked about all the cool parts. No, go get the book, read it. If you've ever had a dream and you thought it's not going to happen, or I can't make it happen, read the book. It definitely, I'll tell you this much, and not because you're on the show, I haven't finished it, so I'm going to finish it. But it definitely, if you make me cry, Megan, how dare you?
I'm sorry.
I've talked about this on other shows, and I don't want to make this about me, but one of the reasons that I invite my guests on the show, I invite people on the show because they affect me somehow. And there's something about them that inspires me. Obviously, to put it together, the whole idea of put it together conversations is to motivate and inspire other people to go after their dreams and goals. And you've definitely done that with your book. It just shows me that if this young kid could put all her energy into making her dream come true, which was meeting Paula Abdul, then me as an almost 50-year-old man, I can definitely muster enough energy to make my dreams keep going. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that.
I appreciate the kindness, and I was very nervous when I put out the book, but you know, the way that it's come back to me and the things people have said to me, it tells me that it was the right decision.
Yes, most definitely. I check mark that one. Oh, that was something I was going to ask you. I didn't write it down. How was your process between writing and publishing?
So I started the book when the quarantine was at its peak. So about probably the last week of March, first week of April.
Oh, wow.
I had it in my hands by Memorial Day weekend.
Wow. Well, I guess because it's your story, it's so much easier to put out.
And I love to write. I mean, I would sit in front of my computer, and one day I had written 7 chapters and I didn't even realize it, but it was just something, you know, the words just come out. I can't tell you how many times I've done an interview with someone and I'll let the interview sit on my desktop for a few days, and then suddenly it'll be 3 a.m. and it's like, boom, and it just comes out. And that's the best way to write for me.
I want to stop Gary. Muscle.
Yep.
Hi, Megan. He's saying hi, Megan.
I love it. Gary, I love you. Thank you for watching.
So Gary is watching us. Thank you for watching us. And so it's okay, because I didn't notice that this is new then. It's fresh out. Like,
yep.
That's pretty sweet.
I've been working very hard on putting it out there because, like I said before, you know, I was like, I don't know, like maybe I'll just send it to my friends, but it's gotten so much traction now. And I mean, I've gotten messages from people in other countries who have asked for it, who are like, I get you, I relate to you, this makes so much sense to me. And one thing which is funny is I did an interview for my job with 2 authors who were sisters, and the one sister said to me, if you are real and authentic, people will relate to you. And this was after I had wrote the book, and I said, you know, you're an author, send me your book, I'll send you mine, whatever. And she called me, and within 2 days of reading it, she said, you need to do something with this. You need to put this out there because it's real, and not many books are real and authentic, and mine was. And I don't know, I'm along for the ride now.
Nice. I want to talk a little bit too, because we've been mentioning them for a little bit, and your collaboration with International Pain Foundation and writing the article. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like how that came to be? Like I can't ask for that, but just, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no. So Barbie Engel and Ken Taylor, Barbie's the president of the International Pain Foundation, and I am the president of the Paula Abdul fan club, as she loves to tell people. And I first met Barbie, I want to say it was about 2014 or 2015, when a friend of mine and I had decided to create a fundraiser for Paula's birthday. Every year on her birthday, we donate it to a charity that she works with or is affiliated with, and we chose International Pain Foundation that year. And that's kind of where Barbie and I started. And then it's in the book where I talk about getting the opportunity to interview Paula, and because of some technical difficulties, Paula ended up pulling out of her show that I was supposed to cover. And I went to Barbie and said, do you guys need a cover story? Because I want to do this. And they took it and they used it and they put it on their cover. And I fell in love with writing with writing for them at that point. And I'm working on more and more stories for them as we speak.
Good. Which I do have to throw it out there. I'm on the cover of the spring edition of this year, so just gonna throw that out there. I'm on the cover. I'm not gonna. I mean, could I say yes? I'm on the same magazine covers as Paula Abdul. I'm just gonna put that out there. So I'm like 1 degree away from Paula Abdul. Just gonna put that out there. So, Paula, if you ever watch this episode, will you please come on the show, because we're basically colleagues.
I'll come on with you.
Yes, we're basically there. We're on the same. Which Tashina Arnold is on the cover of one of one of the covers too. So, which I'm a big fan of her and her singing. So, did you know, Arnold, if you're watching this by any chance, because I'm going to totally tag you when I post this, come on the show, talk about what's going on.
And the cover now, the cover now, Valerie Condos Field. I wrote that article. That's she's the former head coach of UCLA gymnastics, and she went through breast cancer. So, you know.
Somewhere along the line, I'm going to have to collab with Ken and Barbie about bringing some of her covers over here and talking over here on my show and doing that.
Absolutely.
So, some big names. If you, for those of you watching, you're like, who are these? Ken and Barbie on there for real? Yes, they're for real. When I met them, I'm like, there's no way that you guys are married.
Yeah, okay.
Are Ken and Barbie. Like, shut up, you annoying people, whatever. But I love them. They're just adorable to work with. And
I love Ken and Barbie.
Yes.
I love both of them. I have so much respect for what Ken does with helping to take care of Barbie and also helping her run the International Pain Foundation. And I have so much respect for Barbie for just being open and honest with her story and her battles. And, you know, I get a lot of inspiration from her too, because she's always been open and honest, and she's written books about what she's been through that, you know, if she can be open and honest about some serious chronic health issues, then why can't I be open and honest about what's important to me?
Yeah. Again, we keep talking about them like they're on the show or whatever. But if for anybody who's watching this, if you were at last year's conference, this woman, and this is why I mad respect for her. She was around on a scooter with an oxygen tank.
With pneumonia.
Managing a conference for 3 days. I tell you, she gets mad because I say this, but it's so true. I always, like from the time I met her, I keep an eye on her, and she does something. I'm like, if Barbie can do it, I can do whatever I'm supposed to finish. Like there's a sibling competition. It's just like, we're not a competition, we're gonna go. I'm like, yeah, Barbie, whatever. But I look at her and I really get motivated. And I want to bring this back to you. Like I really, like we met that time and we kind of chatted a little bit, and then, but really, I feel like I really got to know you with this book. And I feel like it made me more excited about this interview than I had. And not that I wasn't
excited. You weren't excited beforehand?
No,
okay.
No, I was like, always watch out how I say, you know, I book interviews, and I love, again, I always book people that I know will touch my life or inspire me somehow. But it wasn't until I really like started reading you that I was like, oh wow, like I know her, like I know her, and not because I know. And for everybody watching, like not because I know you personally, but I know the person in the book.
You know the stories.
Yeah, I've been that person in the book. I've known people who were that person in the book, and it spoke to me. Okay, so we're at the 45-minute mark. And
I wish we didn't have to leave. This is
I know we're having a good chat. We're still having a little time, but this is the part of my show where I like to ask my guests, Major Roche, what words of wisdom do you have for my listeners and watchers?
Oh God, just honestly, like I said earlier in the show, live your life, because you never know when you're going to have one thing and the next day it could be gone. And I've learned that over and over again, that, you know, within the past years, you know, back in September, my grandfather lost his battle to lung cancer. And back 10 years ago, my grandmother lost her battle to lung cancer. And I'm just super hyper aware of this is, you know, every day is a day to be treasured.
If you could go back and talk to Megan right outside of the studio, waiting for Paula Abdul to come out, what would you go back and tell her?
3 words: just you wait. You are not going to believe what is going to come out of this, and everything that you're going to get with this woman that you love so much and you respect so much is going to be totally worth the wait.
It's pretty awesome. We've got about 10 minutes to go, and I still have like, it's just that, you know, it's so weird because I want people to read the book, and I don't want to give away too much. And I feel like everything is going in that direction, but no, I know people are going, God, shut up. But that's really the reason we're here, is for her to promote her book. So yeah.
Ask me anything you want. I'm good.
What's in the works for Megan Roche?
Well, like you said in my bio, I'm thinking already about a second book. I definitely would love to give advice to other kids, other students who are considering a career in journalism, just so that they know what they're getting into. I think a lot of people get into journalism and they think about the glamorous life, as I did, and it's not that. It is not glamorous. There are nights and weekends, and you are covering some pretty gruesome stories at times. There's a lot of there's a lot of nastiness that goes on in this field. But, lucky for me right now, I'm working for an organization that works to cover only positive news. We're working to cover only the good things. I just wrote a story about a year ago on a young boy who was 8 years old, who saved up his entire allowance to buy a Christmas present for every child in the pediatric cancer wing of the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And it's things like that that make me realize that there's still humanity left in this world. That's
pretty cool. If folks want to read more of your stuff or find out more about you, where can they go?
So I just got a website, super exciting. But I can send you the link if you want to post it with the podcast. Cause it's meganaroche.wixsite.com/portfolio. And you'll find news clips I've written, stories I've written. You can email me for the book on there. I'm happy to sign them and drop them in the mail. So if anybody here is watching and wants a copy of the book, just let me know, and I'm happy to send them out.
I don't want to go away without giving out some suggestion or some advice to kids out there, because it is happening a lot still, and unfortunately, I don't think it'll ever really go away. But for anybody who's been bullied or is being bullied, and like you and I have thrived beyond it, what would you tell them?
It'll get better. I mean, really and truly and honestly, it seems like it's the worst thing in the world right now. And I promise you that it does get better, and you find the right people who are your tribe. And I found that in my friends from Paula's fan club. We have each other's backs. They are the kind of people that I want in my wedding. I want there when I have children. They're those kinds of friends. And, don't underestimate the power of having real friends that you can count on one hand, because popularity is overrated.
Now, I didn't want to bring too much of Paula's story in here, but if I remember correctly, she had a hard time getting to the Lakers because she wasn't, like, they didn't think
a lot of people because of her her complexion. A lot of people don't know whether she's Spanish, whether she's Black, so they don't really know where to classify her. And she's had many stories where, they said, you're not going to make it. And when she tried out to be a Laker girl, she had to try out 3 times because she's very small. She's about my height. She's 5 foot. And they said, you got a line of dancers like this, and then here, and then back, you don't see her. And she tried out 3 separate times in the same day, changed her clothes, changed her hair, wore different outfits. And finally on the 3rd try, she stood dead center and didn't give up. And then she ended up becoming a Laker girl.
Yeah. Because I do remember when her album came out, that part of that was like, a lot of people didn't believe in her. They were like, oh, this former Lakers girl wants to be a singer now. It's like, whatever. And she kicked butt. She freaking kicked butt. So,
and she still does now.
2 steps forward.
Nice pun. I appreciate that.
I couldn't go away without throwing one in there. I could not go away without throwing it in there. We're coming down to rounding out to the hour. I want to thank Megan. Thank you so much for coming on the show and taking some time to do this. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. It means a lot. And, hopefully between our conversation, we can help some other little kids who may be being bullied as we were. So that's all I ever hope for, is that somebody hears my story and it helps them out.
Most definitely. And for those of you out there, I was I was bullied a lot as a kid for just being who I was. It wasn't easy. It wasn't fun, but it definitely gave me that armor that I needed to be able to tackle the world. And I can tell you that if I could go back and talk to that 7-year-old little boy who was scared and angry and resentful of everybody around him, I would tell him that he just has to keep fighting and just keep doing what he was doing. Because here I am today, almost 50, and still trying to take over the world.
And I think, like you said before too, when you go through something like that, I'm always the person who, one of my friends will call and say, I'm having a rough day. And I'm like, ooh, 1-800-Flowers. Okay. And I'm that person. I'll send boxes of candy, boxes of food. My friends laugh, but I'm the one who sends out a card at Halloween that says, Happy Halloween with a piece of candy in it. Like, I'm that extra friend, because I know I never got that when I was a kid, and I want to make sure that my friends know that I care about them.
And people that know me know that they can call or message me, and they're like, oh, I'm like, oh, hold on, let me grab my cards. Here's a reading. Here's what the universe is saying. Got you. We got you. Move forward. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So if you are a parent of somebody who's being bullied or harassed, just give them the confidence and courage to keep walking through it. It's not going to be forever. And eventually they will find the ever-proverbial tribe that will make them stronger and better. And somebody out there gets you. Somebody out there gets you. And when you find them, man, you will realize how awesome you are. And if you think you're weird, there'll be some other weirdos out there that will join you. And man, that's so much fun.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's you find your tribe, and they are just as weird as you, if not weirder. And you all gel together, and it makes for the most fun that I've ever had.
Ken just posted that he's the serial killer. I don't really know what that means.
Okay, so quick story. I will share this story. So Ken, if you don't know Ken Taylor loves cereal. Barbie Ingle was telling me that she will wake up at 3:00 in the morning and he is over there crunching as loud as can be on whatever cereal he has to eat. So a few months ago, I made him a cup with a bowl of cereal on it, and it says Serial Killer, spelled Cereal, instead of the other one. So now that's all he talks about, is he is the serial killer.
Okay, and now they're commenting. Of course, you would comment almost as the show is over. She gave me a elephant names Hope.
Oh, okay. So again, another story. So Barbie loves elephants. So for Christmas, I adopted her an elephant in Africa, and its name is Hope. And I sent it to her, and it came with a stuffed elephant, and that's Barbie's Ellie. Barbie loves Ellies.
Got it. So we have an elephant lover and a serial killer all in one house. Somehow the puzzle just comes together so much better now.
When the three of us are together or on the phone, you don't even want to know what the craziness that ensues.
I would love to be just a listener in one of those conversations at one point. So please invite me next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to be part of that. Again, for everybody watching, this has been Put It Together Conversations podcast. And okay, he loves this ashtray. What about this ashtray?
Oh, God. Okay, so I painted Barbie a ceramic star at a ceramic paint shop, and I painted it orange, and it says hope is true in the middle. And when I sent it to them, Ken was like, who sent you this ashtray? And I'm like, it's not an ashtray, it's a decorative bowl. Like, why?
Yeah, so they say that you give the best gifts. So okay, I'll just throw it out there. My birthday is December 26th. I'll be 50 this year. Just gonna put that out there.
I got you. You better watch out. You tell me what you like, and you better watch out.
I think everybody knows what I like.
Tacos. I saved that memory.
I think at this point it is no secret out there that everybody knows I love tacos. Which actually last year a friend of mine gave me a taco piñata. It's this little piñata. It's about this big, and I still have it at home. It's so adorable.
Listen, you want to hear a quick story? I brought Ken, after the Eye Paint Awards, I brought them both a gift to say thank you for having me and whatever. And I brought Ken these donuts from Voodoo Donut at Universal Studios. and they were huge. They were like this big, and they were covered with cereal on top. And he said that was the best gift he'd ever been given.
Love me the donuts. Okay, see, that's what you and I are like. We're like that.
We're good. We got each other.
Girl, we're good. We're good. Okay, so before they post anything else on the message board, for everybody watching, this has been Put It Together Conversations podcast. My guest today was Megan Roche, journalist and author. Go get her book. Hold on, I need to go back to it. Where are you? There we go. Forever Her Girl, the stories and experiences of a Major Fangirl. Go get it. Check it out. It is such a nice story. It's just a warm story to make you feel better. If you have a kid in your life that is going after his dreams and goals, his or her dreams and goals, and is being outcast, is the outcast or being bullied or being pushed aside, get them this book. It will change their lives. I almost guarantee it. Check us out every Wednesday night on 7:30 on the Christian and Daniel Show. Friday nights, it's the Card Devo at 6 o'clock. And on Sundays, 5 o'clock for Put It Together Conversations podcast. And occasionally we'll have a noon show with some specials. So keep your eyes open for announcements. If you're following me on TikTok, you can catch me there Monday nights at 9 p.m. All these are Pacific Standard Times. Catch me on at 9 o'clock for a live show on TikTok. And I'm jumping little pop-ups on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram at I am Daniel G. Garza, go on there because you can actually ask questions and have the Card Devo answer questions for you with my Oracle cards. There's a couple of new sites that I'm on. If you know about Likee, Likee, I'm also on there giving information, passing out my words of wisdom. So go check those out. For now, again, I want to thank Megan for being on the show. Thank you so much, Megan. You've been a joy to speak with. And
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ken and Barbie, also for being guests on the show. For Kevin Moyers, Jose Reyes, and my director, Christian Paul Ramirez, and Little Mexican Productions, Abnormal Entertainment, and HBRIS Management, this is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together.